We don't know when they're going to get questioned. Sometimes it could be after the second time, the third time, the fifth time. So we just want to be able to prepare the guys to understand, how to deal with that type of situation, or maybe how to eliminate it if possible.
So can we just explain what these guys are trying to do? Because I know in the old days, people used to stay here for years on tourist visas. They're getting a bus, go over the Cambodian border and come back. And people still try to do that, but they're really taking a big risk, aren't they?
Sure. Yeah, so by land, the rule is still two.
Two times and then
two times per year by land, okay?
So I know a number of years ago, there was a lot of people who used to, they'd stay here for a long time, up to sometimes years on a tourist visa, and you could get away with it 20, 30 years ago. You get in a minibus, go over the Cambodian border, and you just did that every month. But why can't you do that any longer?
Yeah, so what they've done is they've put a limit of 2 times per calendar year to do a land border run, okay? And then, it used to be unlimited by air, but we're getting reports that it's now 2 times per year by air as well.
Oh, okay.
And, I've done some phone calls to try to confirm that. So, we have basically the Thai embassies, saying that it's 2 times per calendar year on, by air as well.
All right.
And then we've got immigration in Bangkok saying that it's unlimited still. Then we have Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying that it's 2 times per calendar year now. And so, it's really confusing. So I just want the guys to maybe have some idea of how to deal with the situation if it comes up when they arrive at the airport. And maybe they've been here 3 or 4 times already this year on visa exemption, and the officer starts, asking them questions and how can they deal with that and what are their options.
Sure. I watched a TikTok video yesterday where this actually happened to a guy. He didn't get refused entry, but they called the person who looked at his passport called his supervisor. They took him in a back office and they said, "You like staying in Thailand a long time?" And he was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Well, you're going to have to get a different visa because you can't do this." But he was lucky they let him in.
Yeah, that happens quite frequently. And sometimes we don't know why it happens. The officer could be looking at your history of entering Thailand. He could just not like the way you look that day. He could be in a bad mood that day. There's no way that we can gauge when it's going to happen to you and if it's going to happen.
Because it is at their discretion at the end of the day.
Everything is at the officer's discretion, and that's the way we want to look at it, because there have been guys, I know guys that have been successful entering 6, 7 times in 1 year on visa exemption, and then I know other guys that have been questioned after the second time, and there's no way to know that. So immigration, they have their guidelines they have to follow, but like you said, at the end of the day, it's based on their discretion. So there's certain things that the guys can do to prepare if they're going to be asked those questions, you know what I mean? So
what would you suggest, especially if somebody was under 50, because I know once you hit that magic number, you can get the retirement visa. It's fairly easy to get these days. You got to jump through a few hoops, but it's pretty easy. So what about guys who come out here who are under 50 and they want to stay here, but they don't want to be looking over their shoulder. They want to stay here legitimately. What would you suggest to those kind of guys?
Well, the most common solution for them is studying Thai or studying Muay Thai boxing.
What's it called?
The ED visa. It's an education visa.
Right. And how long does that visa last for?
Usually you can do it for about a year, but sometimes on certain schools you can get a couple of years out of it, but most of the time it's a year.
Because I do know that immigration have also been tightening up on this, because some people were abusing these visas, and immigration, as I say, have tightened up. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so immigration will tighten up because there's some schools that are maybe issuing these visas and they really shouldn't be. But one of the things that you need to be aware of when you're on an ED visa is it's not the situation where you can just get a re-entry permit and attach it to that permission to stay based on studying, right? And then start leaving the country multiple times. The officer at the airport's not stupid. So he's gonna say, well, if you're studying, how come you're traveling in and out of Thailand so frequently, right? They'll probably refuse entry to you, right? And then there's other scenarios where maybe you've decided to study with a school that's not so much on the up and up, right? And so if you don't leave, probably nothing's going to happen and you're going to be okay. Right. But if you leave the country and then try to come back, that school might be on the radar of the immigration officer at the airport, and they might say, hey, I heard this school maybe is not quite on the up and up. What's going on? Are you studying? Let's hear you talk. Let's hear you speak Thai, blah, blah, blah. This has happened many times, right? So we just have to be very careful. when we choose the right permission to stay for us, the right visa, that we make sure that we understand how to manage it properly. Because if you don't manage it properly, you might be in a situation where you're refused entry. But I think right now, the biggest trend we're seeing is guys who are actually not wanting to pull the trigger on a retirement visa if they're over 50, or not wanting to pull the trigger on a long-term visa.
Why do you think that is?
It's just too difficult for them. They don't want to commit. Yeah, so, it's been always easy for them just to jump on a plane whenever they want to come to Thailand, see their girlfriend or whatever they want to come and do here, right? It was always easy, right? But now when it's not easy, when we don't make things easy for them anymore, then they just get frustrated. And I think you've seen that, when you see comments in social media, right? Guys will say, well, I'm not going to come to Thailand if they make it so difficult for me, right? Now, do they always say that? But then they usually come back anyways, right? So yeah, but we just want to, I would like to maybe give you some tips, or some of the guys' tips on basically what they can do to prepare themselves if they are going to use being a tourist as the way to stay here long term. I think that's the key. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, so everybody's clear on this, the actual rules are no more than 2 times on a tourist visa in 1 year, regardless whether you fly or come by land.
It's visa exemption.
Right.
Yeah. And so what that means is you don't come with a visa. They just stamp your passport at the airport.
30 days
normally.
normally.
And 30 days. And like I said, there's a little bit of inconsistency in this rule, because we have the embassies and people thought that they're just making typos on their website, but actually our staff here contacted the Thai embassies that were posting these rules on their websites and confirmed with them in writing that they were told 2 times per calendar year on visa exemption by air as well as by land or sea. But immigration inside Thailand is singing a different tune. So what we just want to make sure is that the guys know that when you come here as a tourist, if that's the way you're going to enter Thailand every time, whether it's on a tourist visa or on visa exemption, you have to be prepared to prove you're a legitimate tourist.
Sure.
And I can maybe give the guys some help with how to do that.
Right. If you haven't watched any of our videos before, Peter and I have done a series of videos now. Why don't you just tell people who haven't watched our videos before what it is you do in your company?
Okay. So Thai Legal Protection is like it's not really a law firm. It's a membership service that provides a legal service. And the guys can call in at any time, as many times as they want, as long as their membership is active, to get legal advice. And part of that legal advice includes reviewing contracts before you sign, resolving a dispute before you sign, making you a will, a last will or a living will, providing emergency service 24 hours a day.
Okay. I mean, is it when you say a membership, are they committed to any sort of time frame, or what sort of price is that?
Yeah, so it's 795 Thai baht per month, and there's no term commitment. So most of the tourists will come, they'll have the membership, then when they leave, they'll pause it, and then when they come back, they'll reactivate it. Most of the expats just keep it because they're here full time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about if somebody comes here and they joined your membership and they wanted help with visas and things like that? Is that something you could assist them with?
Sure. So what we do is there's kind of 2 aspects to this. The first aspect is we'll look at your situation and say this is the best visa for you. Number 2, we'll walk you through the process, the paperwork, the fees, and actually prepare you to do the whole thing by yourself, which means you don't need to pay an agent to do it.
But if somebody does want to use an agent, just to make it easy, you've got contacts.
Well, there's a couple of reasons why people want to use agencies. The first one is that they don't 100% qualified and the agent can help with that. Or number 2, they just don't want to be bothered. Yeah. So so we can basically facilitate visas as well. We have a satellite office in Pattaya that does a lot of our visa work there, and then we do our visa work out of this office as well too, in Bangkok, right?
Right, so what I'll do, guys, I'll put a link in the description below. So if you're interested in having a look at Peter's website, I say Peter's website, it's quite a large company. I'm in their office in Wireless Road here. As I said at the beginning, it's quite a large office. There's a number of staff here, so it's a professional organisation. But I will put a link in the description, and if you want to have a look at the website, then just click the link in the description, and that will tell you all about the firm. Because I do know you've helped people who've maybe been locked up in Lumpini police station at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you've got a 24-hour hotline, haven't you, that people can...
Yeah, it happens more in Pattaya than it does in
Yeah,
Bangkok,
sure.
unfortunately. But yeah, so we can help with pretty much anything, as well as, you know, some of the guys might not know this, but you know, if you're planning on getting married here and you want to bring your spouse back to your home country,